people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also, too, as you said, 0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Also, there's been ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance, Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They were actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So
this situation with Tory Lanez is heating up, right? We know that after he was assaulted in prison last week and airlifted out, his team came the next day with information saying that they have information that can prove his innocence and say that he's innocent. They have the ballistic evidence. They have no fingerprints on the firearm. There's all kinds of things. Megan Thee Stallion has came out and said that he is guilty. He did it, and I'm tired of y'all still every year coming up with different stuff. This guy did it. Kelsey, you know, she got full immunity to testify, right? But now there's a representative out of Florida, and she's coming with information saying that she's trying to get an emergency meeting with Gavin Newsom, the governor, to give him a full pardon because there's new evidence proving that he's not guilty of this crime, right? Let's revisit what his defense said the day after he was assaulted in prison. Then we'll find out what this representative is actually saying. Check it out.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Ms. Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense?
Now, with all that being said, right, because we saw this, Megan Thee Stallion, she had responded to this, right? And she went to social media fed up and she said, at what point are y'all going to stop making me have to relive being blanked by Tory? At what point are Tory and y'all fans are going to stop lying? Like, how much is the check to keep harassing me? Why is this happening every day? 1 minute, y'all said I was never blanked. Now y'all saying, now y'all letting him play in your face again and say that I was blanked. But it wasn't him. Oh, okay. I'm sick of this blank. Leave me the F alone. He ain't dare get on the stand and deny he blanked me. And that was his choice because he knows he did that blank. I don't give a blank about a blog or a bot. Why in the F would Megan Thee Stallion have to lie on this MF about blanking me? How y'all mad at the person that got blanked? Facts are facts. He did it. It was proven in court. F the hate campaign on the internet. Tory, you blanked me. Ain't no new evidence. Y'all been saying this for 4 years now. Tory, please leave me alone, right? So this is what she's saying. I read it the way she wrote it, right? This is what she's saying. But now with the new evidence, you have a representative out of Florida speaking on this, and she went on to News Nation and said this.
2022, singer, rapper Tory Lanez, convicted of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion after a party at the Hollywood Hills home of Kylie Jenner. Here's the story. They're at the party. After the party, they get into an argument. Lanez tells Megan Thee Stallion, dance, and shoots at her feet like a cowboy movie, hits her. Proof? Testimony of Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey Harris, and DNA evidence on the weapon that convinced jurors to convict. Pretty simple, right? Maybe not. Turns out that DNA, only a 0.01% chance that the DNA is from Lanez. He's always maintained his innocence. He was sentenced to 10 years, so this is really about the testimony. Lanez, so what happens? So he goes away, recently stabbed 14 times in prison. Many say it was a hit, okay? Because new evidence is about to come out. All right, a little conspiratorial, but he was definitely stabbed. Lanez supporters believe that the media doesn't care because Megan Thee Stallion is represented by Jay-Z's Rock Nation. Now, I could give a damn about Jay-Z or his company. This just wasn't a case on my radar until now. Why? Anna Paulina Luna. She is a representative from Florida. You see her here on a regular basis. She says she's got new evidence, says it wasn't him. And she joins us now. Representative APL, it's good to have you.
Thanks, Chris. Happy to be back on. And thanks for taking a look at this case.
No, listen, you tell me to take a look at it, I'll look at it. But why did you look at it? I mean, this isn't your jurisdiction. I don't know you'd have any connection to any of these people.
Yeah, so as you know, we are on oversight and accountability, and so this case was actually initially flagged for me by Amber Rose. And the reason why I took a particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved the conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also, too, as you said, 0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Also, there's been ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They were actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So look, first and foremost, you have to have a free and fair society. That means we need to respect and uphold the justice system. So I actually reached out today to Gavin Newsom's office, and we are requesting an emergency meeting. We're also working with other Democrats, specifically to the California delegation. But I think that this is something that's pretty egregious, that the way that this was handled, the way that it was. I think that it was largely driven by headlines. And aside from the people involved and the parties involved, obviously I take domestic violence, I take this very seriously, Chris, but I also take very seriously the fact that I do believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, that Tory's innocent. And I think that it sets a really bad message when you have someone of his stature, and also to someone that is as influential as he is, that's being wrongfully incarcerated. And that's exactly why we wanted to use our megaphone for a good reason and help get him his pardon, which I think he'll get.
So Luna, who did it? I mean, she says, and her friends say, that he did it, and who else would have done it, and what proof do you have to support that? I get it. Maybe they didn't make the case the right way with the weapon, but who did it?
You know, Chris, that's not for me to weigh in, and that's definitely for the judge and the jury. But what I will tell you is, based on the evidence that we have, the evidence that we have says that he wasn't the guy. And so I do think that Gavin Newsom has some great attorneys that will look at this. But I'd also like to point out that the prosecutor specifically on this case that initially brought the charges is a very interesting prosecutor look into who ran him. And at the end of the day, you know, I think Hollywood, as you know, Chris, and politics does overlap, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. So look at the evidence for yourself. We've posted it for the entire world to see, to determine for themselves. And I know that Tory's legal team actually has an incredible case. And so we are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. And also remember, he was almost killed in jail. I actually talked to him today on the phone, and he said that once he does get out, once he does get this pardon, which I do feel confident that he'll be getting, he's going to work extensively in prison reform, because this should never happen to anyone.
Anna Paulina Luna, this is a really interesting one. I've never covered a situation like this before, but I appreciate you using your platform. And let the legal team know we'll be reaching out if they want to come on to make the case. I'm happy to hear it, and we'll check in with the governor's office as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Of course. And Chris, too, if you want, we can probably connect you with his dad as well. I think it's important for people to know all the facts.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'll check in with you right after the show. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
So now, as more information come out, we'll report more of this. They're looking to get an emergency meeting to get an emergency pardon. They're going to do. They said that when she made the comment about dance be dance, they had video surveillance footage saying that was a lie. So that was a lie. They're saying that this is a representative on TV saying this. They're saying that was a lie. She lied on national TV about basically being in a relationship with him. It's part of the thing that caused the whole incident. She lied about that, right? His fingerprints is not on a firearm. So you have a lot of things that they're not telling the truth about now that's coming to light. It's coming out. So they want to get all representatives together in California. They want to get an emergency meeting where they can check, where they can really look into this, and if he's guilty, to get him out of there, because his life may be in danger while he's in prison. Now, if he's guilty, he deserves to be in prison. But if he's not guilty, some heads are going to roll. Some heads are definitely going to roll, because they railroaded this young man and gave him a 10-year sentence for something that they knew they had the evidence to prove that he didn't do it, but they threw him in jail anyway, pushing an agenda. So we'll see. We'll see as this go out. Once they got this new information, he ended up getting assaulted in prison. We'll find out. But let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.